wide awake while they slipping. I won't die today, won't you listen?
What's up, Hoopers? It's Coach Alex from THINCPRO Basketball, and in today's video, we're going to go over a couple of tips to help you become a better defender. Let's get started.
The kingpin of sandcastle asylums dry, but I'm dying to be thirsting. My nerves are jerking. I'm clawing, draw my breath to the surface. Serving to the most high, now undeserving. Return to the dirt, the earth I'm in. They used to follow me. Guess they never knew that I'm just dust.
All right, guys, like I said, I got a few tips for you just to become a better defender by positioning yourself and putting yourself in the proper position in order to do that. The first thing is giving yourself a gap from the offensive player. So if I put the ball at this position here, I want to make sure that I give enough gap. And when I say gap, room, right? Because if the offensive player makes a play or makes a crossover move or something, I want to give myself enough room to react to it. Because if I'm too close and they make a move, I'm either going to get called for a foul or I'm going to get beat. So when I call a gap, I usually like to be about arm's distance from the defender. So if you have shorter arms, that means you're gonna be closer. If you got longer arms, you're able to, be a little further back. But at the same time, this allows you to get a count on the basketball, try to get a 5-second count, still be disruptive, and still be in enough room to contest the jump shot of that offensive player. So being about arm's length distance to allow yourself to react and make a play against the offensive player with whatever move they try to throw at you.
Just dust, brick and mortar, under the thumb of the Lord, I get crushed, don't mean much, now I get stuck, I'm only...
All right, another way to help yourself with putting yourself in the best position is your footwork. And this first footwork I want to talk about is shading and forcing one direction. So if I want to keep this offensive player on this side of the floor and keep them going to their right hand, then I want to keep my right foot forward. So if I'm in a defensive position, I've got 1 foot higher than the other, shading and keeping them on one side of the floor. I don't want them to get this way. Right, so we'll just say this offensive player is great going to their left. So I want to keep them going to their right hand. So what I can do is get 1 foot up, right? So I'm not in an even position like this. I've got 1 foot high and up on them to still force them in one direction, right? Because if I open up and I allow them to go this way, I'm allowing them to their strength. I want to keep them going to their weak hand and forcing them in the same direction. Now, when I'm doing this, I still want to give that gap so I have that time to react, because if the offensive player tries to fake this way and come back here, I've given myself the appropriate distance to still be able to cut them off and take the hit to my chest, but still force them in the direction I want them to go. All right, so when you're shading or forcing one direction, most of the time you're going to have 1 foot higher than the other, right? Forcing that defender or the offensive player that direction you want them to go, right? We don't want to open up and allow them to their strength. We want to keep them on their weak hand so we can put ourselves in the best position possible to be successful as a defender.
I'm only flesh, I'm only blood. All my words holy aroma, or the smoke of the untouched.
All right, guys, the last thing I want to talk about now, when you're in a defensive positioning and you're facing an offensive player who's great going both directions and has speed, again, give gap, right? Give that space where your arm's distance away, but now you want to be even with your footwork. We're not going to go one up higher than the other. We want to be even, allowing ourselves to react whichever way the offensive player tries to go. A majority of the time, you're going to be on this footwork positioning in the middle of the court, right? A lot of the times when you're on the right side of the court or the left side of the court, you'll try to keep the offensive player on that side. But if you're playing a great overall offensive player, you want to give that gap. You want to make sure that your feet are even so you can react and play against however they're trying to go at you, right? If you feel like you have the advantage as a defender, this is when you can climb up into the defender, where you can get closer, where you feel like they're not a good ball handler, so now I'm up close to them and I'm messing with the dribble. I'm making it hard on them. I'm tracing the basketball. I don't want them to be able to make an easy pass or make an easy dribble move. Right? So anytime that you feel like you have the advantage as a defender and you feel like the offensive player that you're going up against is weak with their dribble, climb into them, make it hard, and force them to make a play that they're uncomfortable making.
I see doves, I see fire fall like tongues of riot. My place is among the...
All right, Hoopers, that's it for today's video. A couple of tips to help you with your positioning to become a better defender, whether you're giving gaps to that offensive player, forcing some pressure on them to make it hard for them, giving the, shading one direction, having a top side foot up, playing them even, whatever it may be. Put yourself in the best position possible to be successful as a defender. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, let us know what you think. Hit that subscribe button to join THINCPRO Basketball and get all the great content that we release every single week that's designed to help you improve your game. Now, until I see you again next time, hit the gym, hit the court, get out there, work on your defense, because it's important to be a great defensive player, not just on the offense, but defense will get you on the floor, and it ultimately wins games. All right, so until I see you again next time, remember to always keep hooping.